Good morning and welcome to the pre-bid conference for ITB 57 FY23, the Swanson Middle School Kitchen and Entrance Renovation Project. I am Brandon Christian, the Senior Procurement Specialist for Arlington Public Schools. During the conference, I will be reviewing the ITB and highlighting those areas which are considered to be of interest. Also representing APS today during the conference are Ben Burgeon, Assistant Director, Design and Construction, Robin Hodges, Manager, Facilities and Operations, and will be the APS Project Manager, and Teresa Ham-Modley from VMDO, the Architect of Record. Following the conference, bidders have the opportunity to visit the Swanson site. Bidders interested in doing so are required to contact Robin Hodges to make arrangements. Excuse me. Robin's contact details can be found in the ITB. The site visit is scheduled to start at 1 p.m. More information can be found in the ITB and will be addressed later in this conference. Questions are also welcome during the conference and will need to be submitted in writing through the chat capability. Questions will be addressed at the end of the conference, and the conference is being recorded and a copy will be posted on the current solicitation page of the procurement website. It needs to be emphasized that it is the responsibility of the bidders to make themselves familiar with the requirements of the project and that bids are submitted in accordance with the bid documents. Okay. So on your screen now should be the invitation to ITB 57 FY23. This draft of the ITB is also what is uploaded in EVA. So, if you were coming over from there, this will be the same copy as represented. Okay. So I'm just going to scroll through the contract. In the first section of the invitation, we do have the issue date, which was on the 12th of October. The pre-bid conference date, which is today at 9. Thank you for joining. We have the bid closing date and time. That is November the 15th, no later than 11:59 p.m. We have the bid opening dates at November the 16th at 10 a.m. And that will be held on Microsoft Teams. This information will be posted throughout the ITB also. Okay. So as we work our way down, just want to point out that this is an Arlington Community School Board, and we are operating as the Arlington Public Schools. And throughout the contract, will be designated as APS or the owner. Outline is in the top is also the project and the address. This information again will be throughout the contract. Okay. I do want to point out that bids received after the bid closing shall not be considered. Bids that are received will not be open until the bid opening. For further information, there is my contact right there, Brandon Christian at brandon.christian@apsva.us. And there's my desk number, 703-228-7649. And there's also a link to our current solicitation page. In this section, the big documents, we're providing information for how to receive the drawings and the specs. Here is the contact information for the VMDO architect, Teresa Ham-Modley. We have a number and an email for you. Below in the pre-bid conference, some more information about the pre-bid conference that we are here today. There is a reference to section 13 the examination of site, which provides more information and details on the site visit today. And the invitation, we also have a section for detailing the bidder's questions. Please take note that all questions should be received by November the 1st. Those questions can be sent to either myself, Robin, or Teresa, and we will acknowledge accordingly. These next two sections, we're going to address the addenda and any information items. All addenda and information items will be posted on the APS website and on EVA. Take note that the addenda will need to be addressed in the bid form. So any addenda that is issued will also need to be acknowledged as part of the submission of your bids. In the submission of bids section, we address where and how to submit the bids. Please take note that bids can only be submitted through the link to submit bids -ITB 57 FY23. The link is provided here and also on the solicitation page. There will be no bids received, or any bids received will not be accepted if not through this link. So we will not accept any emails or fax bids, or bids that are submitted in person will not be accepted. Again, take note of the closing time. Any bids received after the 11:59 on November the 15th will not be accepted. And again, all bids will remain closed until the bid opening on Wednesday, November the 16th at 10 a.m. Here is a project description and background. It's an overview of the project. I do have Robin Hodges here. Robin, would you like to give any further details or elaborate on the project at this time?
Yes, thank you, Brandon. So the selective demolition that we're doing is really just in the existing main office, and we're creating kind of a side open view. And the other selective demolition is really the existing kitchen. So most of you that have already seen the drawings can see that there is lead abatement. That's not like completely called out inside of this project description, but we have already received a question, an inquiry about the lead abatement, and that is in Division 2. Just for it'll also be obviously that first question will be listed in addendum as well. But there is lead in construction, which is basically like ceramic tile, and one sink has that lead kind of lining, and then there is a lead abatement table that is the paint on the exterior of this building that needs to be abated to create the new entrance. One other maybe or maybe not so other important thing to note here, this is a historical site. We do have a historical permit. So just some things of note, so that entrance to the new entrance will be a high focal point to make sure that we get the details as they're shown to meet our historical society permit. But that's other than what you see listed here, that's really the big thing I wanted to kind of elaborate on.
Great. Thank you, Robin. And again, if you have further questions, you can always reach back out to Robin or Teresa or myself, and we'll get those addressed. In the following section, highlighted the negotiation procedures in the event the apparent low bid exceeds the available funds. At the time of the bid opening, we will be announcing the available funding for the project. If so happens that none of the bids are within budget, the process is outlined in this section, and so we will be working looking at the responsiveness of all of the bids and reviewing the lowest bidder and processing through those accordingly in the case that there are no bids within budget. So please familiar yourselves with that process. And that concludes the end of the invitation. The next section will be the instructions to bidders. This section outlines how to submit your bid and what will be required. Please take note in section 2 states the importance of meeting the mandatory requirements. We'll be going through the class 1s and the class 2 mandatory requirements and the deadlines for those. I'm going to scroll down. Okay. Again, I want to take note of the examination of the site. And section 13 of the instructions to bidder outlines details of how to contact Robin and how to, and the date and time of the site visit today. Again, if you cannot make the site visit today, but still would like to visit the site, you will still need to contact Robin. And please take note her contact information is in the ITB. Check section 17 and 18 outlines the qualifications and the requirements to be able to bid on this the ITB. For the minimum qualifications, those will be outlined in the Appendix A of the bid form. Mandatory requirements, we have 2 classes for the requirements of this bid. Class 1 mandatory requirements will be needed, will need to be submitted with the bid upon submission. And the Class 2 requirements can be submitted upon request from our office. So you may be able to submit your information without the Class 2 requirements to be able to qualify, but we will be following up on this information. If the information is not provided, you will be deemed non-responsive. Take note of the licensing that is needed for this project. Between you and your subcontractors, you will need to be able to cover those licensings required for the project. Okay. Let me go ahead and get down to page 19. The next section of the ITB is the bid form. Please take note, place your name of your organization and the name of the bidder. Below will be instructions of how to submit your bids. Again, outlined here are the Class 1 mandatory requirements and the Class 2 mandatory requirements. Please take note upon submission that all Class 1 mandatory requirements will need to be accompanied with your submission. Section 10 of the bid form, you will need to place your Virginia Class A licensing number. Upon the bid opening and opening your bid, I will be checking your Virginia class licensing first. If there is no information provided, you will automatically be deemed non-responsive. In section 11, you will be acknowledging any addenda that has been issued. Please take notes that if you do not acknowledge an addenda, it may, your status may be deemed non-responsive. Section 13 will be the total bid. I'm sorry, excuse me. Section 13 is the bid schedule, which we have broken up into 2 sections. The bid item 1 will be your total bid in writing and in figures. And bid item 2 will be your breakdown of the total bid. So let me be clear that the amount in your bid item number 2 shall total the bid item 1. If you believe that there are no funds according to that division, you may place a 0 or leave blank. This section, this bid item number 2, excuse me, is a class 2 mandatory requirement. So may not be submitted with your bids, but we will be reaching out to collect this information. There are no bid alternates for this ITB. Section 14 will be collecting contact information for administration. Section 15, you will be stating your SEC identification number. Section 16 outlines the requirement for the Virginia contracting license. And also in section 17, you're going to be listing your subcontractors. Again, this is a class 2 mandatory requirement. So this does not need to be submitted with your bid, but this information will need to be collected. Section 18 will be collecting department status information. And that is the end of the bid form. Please take note, person signing must be authorized to bind the bidder in contract matters. The next section of the ITB is Appendix A to the bid form. This section will be collecting the bidder's qualifications. Take note of the qualifications required for the bidder's experience. In section 2 of the Appendix A, we will be collecting substantial non-compliance information. In section 3, demonstrated performances on relevant projects. We'll be collecting information on 3 relevant projects. Please take note of the minimum requirements of those projects. Also to note, the projects cannot accumulate to the total amount. It should be a single project that's able to meet this limit, this amount, and has been completed within the past 10 years. We will be reviewing those projects. In section 4 of the Appendix A, we will be collecting key personnel information, primarily information on the project superintendent and the project manager. Please attach a copy of their resumes when you submit your bid form. On page 33 is the standard bid bond. This bid bond will be a class 1 mandatory requirement, so this will need to be filled out and submitted with your bid. On page 37 of the ITB is the agreement. Here is essentially what the contract will look like upon award. I do want to take note of section 4 is the contract period. Please take note of the importance of those dates. Also, in the agreement in section 6 provides details about the liquidated damages. Okay. Please take note of the amounts and the stipulations for the liquidated damages. Go ahead and skip to page 42. On page 42 is a standard labor and material payment bond. This information is pretty standard. And so just wanted to point out there's a section there to fill out. And then there's also on page 47, a standard performance bond that will need to be filled out. And it's pretty standard information to be collected. Moving on to the general conditions on page 52. Our general conditions are pretty extensive, so please familiarize yourself with this section. It does pertain terminology, processes that will be adherent to the project. I do want to go down to page 3. I want to point out the section of the insurance required by the contract. Please take note of the insurances and the amounts required. We will be requesting for a certificate of insurance before the contract will be issued. Going to page 114. Okay. So after the general conditions in the ITB, we have screenshots of steps required to submit a bid. So if you have any issues, we do provide steps on how to submit your bids, and you can also reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. Following the steps to submit the bids, we do have our Appendix 2, it's COVID-19 instructions. And lastly, we do have Appendix 3. This is an insurance coverage checklist. This refers to the insurance section of the general conditions, just as a summary of the amounts, and provide you a checklist of what will be required. Okay. That concludes the review of our ITB 53 FY23, the Swanson Middle School kitchen and renovation, Swanson Middle School kitchen and entrance renovation. I will check to see if we received any questions. Okay, we haven't received any questions. Is there, please use the chat if you have any questions about the contract or the project as of.
This is Robin. Just to reiterate, the walk, for those of you that may be attending the site walk this afternoon, we're going to be meeting at door A1. It's right there at the parking lot. It's entrance number 1. So we'll park right there in the school's parking lot, and door 1 is right there facing the parking lot. So that's where we're going to meet the group before we go in, for those of you that may be coming.
Thank you, Rob. All right, it seems there are no questions. Again, if there are any questions that come up, you may reach out to Robin and Teresa or myself. Thank you for your attendance today, and please be sure to reach out to Robin if you are visiting the site, if you haven't already done so. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and hope everyone has a good day.